All right, so we're gonna go to number 2. Hopefully, you guys already start going over different things, and that's good. If you did, you should look, ask each other. Conversation math is actually really important for you guys to talk to people and communicate your ideas, and that is very normal in my class. So I don't mind that you guys have that discussion. Now, if you're socializing, that's where I'm pretty upset. One thing, another thing is tutoring. Um, you can come to tutoring anytime. My tutoring is always full, always a lot of people. You get to meet a lot of people. A lot of people actually, as much as like, sometimes I don't like. Sometimes this place smell like gym. Um, yeah, it's like a lot of people actually working their brain. You can tell from like just like they're working. Um, so yeah, please come into tutoring. Please get help. Uh, if you guys are interested in math, Mu Alpha Data is gonna send out a link for you to join for Mu Alpha Data. Whatever that is. Usually we do competition math after schools if you're interested in math that way. Um, so let's start with question number 2, and I'm gonna make this question is some question you might want to copy down for your notes, um, and you go from there. So I have these questions here. Hopefully you guys can see. If you cannot see, I'll change your see. Can anybody see? McKenna, can you see you over in the back? Okay. All right. So I'll try to make it bigger. Now, there's a shortcut to this question. If you realize the shortcut is actually simplify 4 square root 8. And that will changing from binomial to monomial. And then you can distribute. Now, normally, if you don't see that, you probably could have done this way, distribute this way, and distribute this way, distribute this way, and distribute this way. Inside, inside, outside, outside, when you multiply out. Now, I'm going to show you the shorter way. The shorter way is going to be here. Shorter way is I'm going to paste here. Now, the reason why I give a question like this is I want to see if student can see shorter math. A lot of time you're analyzing before you going forward. So what I mean by that, I'll show you in a second. So this one could be 2 and 4, and this one's 2 and 2, right? And can I take out 1, 2 here? So it'll be 2. Now, yesterday somebody asked a question. I think it was Annika, right? Um, and she says that she made a mistake, and it's okay. I like that mistake because that's a very common mistake. I have no problem with it, not in any way. I think she's not she's not doing bad. No, otherwise I won't put her as a group leader because I think have a very capability. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it as 2 and 4. They are actually multiplying because when you take it out, that becomes multiplied. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's gonna be 8 root 2 minus 2 root 2. Now before this, they cannot subtract because they don't have a like term. They don't have like term. They don't have like radical. So you cannot subtract. So now you can subtract now. And hopefully this question will make it a little bit easier because 6 root 2 and 6 root 5 minus 2 root 10. Does that make sense so far? Did anybody did this way or you just foiled it? You did this way? Good. Okay. So then now I'm going to distribute here. So that's going to be 36 root 10 and minus 12 root 20. Now 20 can simplify down more if you can. So that's going to be 2, 10, and 2, 5. You can take out 2. So the correct answer would be 36 root 10 minus 24 root 5. Is that okay? Okay, good. Very impressive. Yeah, so now some people choose to do this way. You can distribute it. So that's going to be 24 root 40. Now you can see the work is a lot more intense because there's a lot more term. But the answer should be the same. So double check my math. Some of you guys are very good with that. So 880 minus 12 root 10 plus 4 root 20. So do you have all those things? Then you have to simplify. So that's going to be 2. If I take out 2, so that's going to be 48 square root 10 minus, I can probably take out 4, 4, and 5, I think. So it'll be 32 root 5 minus 12 root 10 plus 8 root 10. No, 8 root what? 5, right? So 8 root 5. So that is going to give you 36 root 10 minus what? 24 root 5. So it's same answer result. It's the same answer. Now, which way you want to try to do it? Usually I will try to see, math is not only one path, one particular path make you, it's whatever's easiest path. If I teach competition math, then usually I want them to see the shortest path to do a problem. You have to learn to see those paths. On your SAT, it's going to be the same way. You're not going to try to do every single work. Sometimes on SAT, sometimes you gotta just be able to tell the y-intercept on a straight line. And you save 30 seconds over there. You can save that 30 seconds, use some other question. And sometimes you just have to tell positive and negative slope. So a straight line, you only need to tell y-intercept and positive negative slope or positive negative y-intercept. Usually can eliminate them 4 choice to 1. So a lot of time you gotta learn how to quickly think and get the things done without too much efforts. Okay, that's the first question. Any other question you want me to go over? Aiden? 6. I love 6 because I've been put on a homework for a while. So we talked about this yesterday. This can simplify here. So that is going to be, I believe that's 27 if I do my math right. X to the 2, I believe. Y to the 7.5 and negative 2/3. And now if the very complex problem is simplified down to just subtract the top exponent minus the bottom exponent, and that's just the exponent rules. And that's going to be 27 to the negative 2/3, x to the negative 4/3, y to the negative 14 over 6. Now everything's negative, so it's pretty much down. And this will end up to be 9. If you don't know why it's 9, I will show you. Y to the 14 over 6, which is also known 7 over 3. You can put in the same radical if you want, and that just, sometimes SAT want to see that, but you can put a third root x to the 4, y to the 7. That's also another thing that you can change to, but I'm perfectly happy with this answer with rational exponent. I don't have to do, because they all divided by third. Yeah, they all divided by third, so yeah. So I can actually simplify it that way. But either this one, I would say this one's fine. If you got down to here, it's good. Next questions. Yes, Jake. 3, sure. 3 is interesting because we talked about that yesterday. If they both negative and McKenna says dividing doesn't matter, but multiplying it matter. And because dividing 2 negative signs is going to cancel out. Actually, wait. That part I don't know yet. I just confused myself right now. So here I will do I square root 10 times I square root 20. So it'll be I square root of 200. So it's going to be negative square root 200. And negative 1 times, this one you can take out 10, so it'll be negative 10 2. Yes.
When you split the radical for negative numbers, is it always going to be a negative 1 and then the number?
I won't think of that way. I think about square root negative 10 is I square root I. No, I times square root 10. Now I to the second power is negative 1. We're going to talk about I to the multiple power today. Any other question you want to go over? That's good. Yes. 7. 7, yeah, you should get it right now. So that should be 2x squared over y squared minus 1 over x y to the 6 plus 3y, I think. Is there any question you want me to go over? Yes, one last one. 4 is gonna be, I'll just do it here, square root of 48x to the 9, y to the 3. Now I can probably take out a 4, so 16 times 3, so it's 3 inside, x to the 4th y, and this x, y. I think this is what I got. Any question last? No? Okay. And hopefully this setup you get to ask and you can communicate when you come in the room. The first thing is communicate, not socializing, because I don't have time for you guys socializing. Now, I do hear like there's a lot of people want to switch out. Or is there anybody want to switch out? Come talk to me first. Hopefully you don't want to switch out. This is going to be the best class you want to go to. But it's going to be hardest at the same time. It's going to be the hardest, and you probably more likely receive bad grade in this class than other class. But I'm also very resourceful, so you can come in to get help as much time as you want. So you can come in anytime and stuff like that, get better. That's fine. I do see like all you guys are going to calculus, so if I start this year. For last year, all the students come in, I say 30 students, only 15 students qualified to be calculus. But if I start you in AP pre-calculus, then you go into calculus, should be a lot easier transitions because I will taught everything right to going forward from now on. So that's what I believe on. Okay, so now let's talk about I to the first power is square root of -1, and I squared is -1. Now here's my question. How about I to the fourth power, I to the third power, I to the third power, I to the fourth power? How about those? What is the I to the third power? Who says what? Who? Well,
Square root -1 square root -1.
-1. I think a little bit too complex. Jay? No. -1 is already occurred. AN?
Square root of -1 times -1.
No. Yes, no. -I is good. Think about exponent rule, right? Exponent rule is I squared times I to the first, right? Does that make sense? Because 2 plus 1 is 3, right? So that is equal to -I. Good. And this one you can write it I squared times I squared, right? Does that make sense? It's gonna be 1. Is that okay? So I guess I should write this as the other way. So, or also equal to I. Yeah, so that would be better. So it'd be I -1, -I 1. How about I to the fifth power? Why? It just repeat. Good. So you understand the repeat. So that's gonna be I because I to the 4 is 1. So that's I. So it repeats itself every 4 term. Math actually repeat itself every 4 term. Not just only I though. There's a lot of things repeat after 4th term. I remember when we taken SAT back then, 20 years ago. SAT is 10 times stronger than right now. Like you think now SAT is hard. 20 years ago, the SAT is 10 times harder. So I remember this question very, very important. So it says 7 to the 149 power, and they say, what is the last digit of this number? Now, if you type in the calculator, do 7 to the 149, you're not going to get a number. Matter of fact, your calculator is going to explode because that number is way too big. Hi, I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I've been sick the past couple of days.
Okay. Is everything okay?
Yeah, it's fine. I'm a lot better now.
Okay. I ran out of chairs, so you probably have to sit in the back. Is that okay? So I remember those questions, 7 to the 149, and they say what is the last digit of this number? Now, if you use any calculator right now, even computer might be not able to spit out this number fully. But the problem is there is a pattern of 4. And pattern of 4 is, it says, usually if you do the same thing over 4 times, pretty much repeat itself, especially math. And so it turns out 7 to the first power is 7, right? 7 to the second power is 49. Is that okay?
Yeah.
7 to the third power is what? What? 49 times 7, come on. Those of you guys need to know how to multiply 2-digit number. Last year in the calculus class, I have one student didn't know how to multiply 2-digit number. Huh? 343. So Ian is right. It doesn't matter what happened to the digit in the front. Look at the last digit, right? 7 to the 4th power. What do you think the last digit is going to be? 1. And the trick is, if you see that 7 to the 5th power, what's the last digit? 7. 7 to the 6th power, what's the last digit? 9. So you see this 7941, it will recur again every single time. Now, if you do that, then I can figure out 7 to 149 power was the last digit because it repeats 4 times. So can I just do long division to figure out a remainder? It's called mod. Now, you guys don't learn, don't learn in the normal math. Usually in computer science, you learn about mod, which is I don't know anything about. So I can do 4, and that's going to be 3, 12, 29, 7, 28, 1. So remainder is 1. So your last digit is going to be 7. Because it repeats 37 times. And after we repeat 37 times, the remainder is 1, so it's going to go to the first term. So your last digit is going to be 7. So what is I to the 247? What do you think I to the 247 is going to be? Yes.
3?
No, not 3. Jake? Negative I? Why is negative I? Does everybody agree with negative I? Okay, Andrew says it, McKenna says yes. Okay, I believe you guys. 247. What do you think? You don't want to write out 247 times. You know it repeats every 4 times. So that's going to be 6, 24, and 7. And that's going to give you 1, right? 4, 3, and the remainder is 3. So it's going to go to the third term. The answer is negative I. And that will be the answer for this one. Are we okay here? 4, it will repeat. It will repeat every 4 times. So if you see here, see this 7 is same as before 9, and it's gonna be 7941, 7931. The same thing is gonna be I negative 1, negative I 1, and then gonna repeat I negative 1, negative I 1. It will repeat every 4 times. So the value will repeat itself. So I remember this SAT question a long time ago, and I didn't know what is it. I have like no clue until I start teaching. I said, "Oh, duh, that is that way," and I never knew how to do it because I try to plug in the calculator, it just doesn't work. It come out a even if it come out a number, usually it come out as error because the number too big. It's not a calculator can calculate, or if even it's calculated, it's going to be scientific notation, doesn't including the last digit. So therefore, you're not going to have find the value. Doesn't matter what. Okay, got it. All right. So let's talk about rationalizing. Rationalizing has a lot of things you need to know. For example, on your SAT, what you're gonna have to be able to rationalize. But let's start with the normal number. You guys should know how to rationalize this. How do I rationalize this? So rationalize. On top and bottom. The key is top and bottom, not just square root 2. So square root 2, and this is actually an important value. You're gonna know this value later is one of the unit circle value. So on the top is gonna be square root 2, and the bottom is gonna be 2. And that's how you rational bottomize it. Bottom is one term. But now the thing is, what if a bottom is 2 term? How do I rationalize this? Does anybody know how to rationalize the square root 2 plus 5? On the bottom. Obviously, you have a radical on the bottom, but how do I rationalize this? Yes. What is it called? You're right. Wow, okay. Your brother tell you, or you knew that? Oh, good. But the problem, you make one mistake, though. You're on the right track. Say that again. You say multiply by square root 2 minus 5.
Oh, top and bottom.
Yeah, it's top and bottom. Good. So square root 2 minus 5 and square root 2 plus 5. Now, this and this relationship is called conjugate. Conjugate, oh, sorry, this is minus 5, sorry. This is minus 5. So this is called a conjugate. Now, conjugate, why do we need to use conjugate? Do you guys know why do we use conjugate here? There's not a property that we use in a lot of things that we always test on SAT. What is that thing that's always tested on SAT? That it looks like a conjugate. And we also talked about conjugate before. It's that back then we talked about different thing. Something to do with factoring binomials. What is a plus b times a minus b? Difference of square, right? Now you're using the idea of difference square. So the difference of square is a plus b times a minus b. We already know the result. What is a plus b times a minus b? A squared minus b squared. Those of you guys, you know that? It's going to be like this. Now, with that knowing, I know the bottom here is going to be, oh, okay. Well, the top is going to be square root 2. Square root 2 minus 5. Very easy because 1 times square root 2 minus 5 is going to be square root 2 minus 5. The bottom, however, is going to be what? It's called difference with square. So it's going to be square root 2 square minus what? Huh? No, minus what? 25. Good. So that's going to be square root 2 minus 5 over 2 minus 25. Does that make sense? Because square root 2 square is 2. So that's going to be minus 23, square root 2 minus 5. Is that okay? Now you can actually simplify this even more. You can do splitting. So square root 2 over negative 23. And it's going to be plus 5 over 23. Because you can split both of them and 2 negative signs end up canceling out. And this is all supposed to be review. But I'm going to review for you because most of you guys doesn't have that strong math skill yet. So we're going to review all this stuff. And those are things that's going to be on SAT. Trust me, because it is on SAT. Yes.
Where does the negative go?
The bottom negative sign?
Oh, they both went.
They both divided by negative 23. So it'd be square root 2 divided by negative 23. And negative 5 divided by negative 23 is going to become positive. Negative over negative is positive. Does that make sense? Questions here? Okay, I'll let you try one. Now conjugate is only deal with the bottom because you only rationalize the bottom. You never you can rationalize the top actually. It's not against it, but it just usually math prefer you have no radical on the bottom. Oops.